So let's start again with our sponsors. Please give them a hard time. They are still waiting that you go there and really make difficult questions for them, challenge them. So X-Ray, where are you? They were this morning, right? Yeah, they were this morning. Oh my God. The team. You know, if I do not work, they don't get it. Ooh. Inflectra. They were also this morning. Octoperf. No, they were not this morning. So where are you? Where are you? So we are 8 people doing performance. Please visit us. We're good. Anyway, so we will give them later on the chance so that they can tell us what's going on. UBS Heiner. Do they know that they're here? I think this is our fault, my fault maybe. Maybe. It's my fault. Sure. That's the point. That's the point. I do nothing. And when I do something, then goes wrong. So, Lena. I think you're going to have a great keynote. I think so. I'm feeling that. I think that it's going to be amazing. And you have been here for a few years, and I think the time has come where you really need the space to go out and have an incredible keynote. I'm sure it's going to be very good. I'm not doing pressure, no, not at all. No? But I know this is going to be, because I've seen a little bit, and I think that this is a typical, for the new people, I think this is going to be a typical keynote for the Agile Testing Days. Please come to the stage. Thanks so much. You have everything, I guess?
I need that one, I think.
This
no,
one?
I need
Or
this one.
You have,
I have my own.
Okay. So, enjoy.
Thank you. Hello. I brought a dress with puppies, so in case this is an uncomfortable topic, look at the puppies. We are going to be talking about whether or not it's possible to live a full life while being scared shitless constantly. Before I start, because I really care about the people at this conference, I want to give a slight content warning. I will not go into depth on any of these topics, but I will touch upon topics that might be difficult. If you feel like you will be uncomfortable with any of this, please take care of yourself and leave the room. I will not hold it against anyone. I will love you for taking care of yourself. I will be talking about anxiety. I will be talking about relationships that are not healthy, let's call it that. I might touch upon bullying. I hope not. That's not a story I like telling. I will be talking about relationship issues and therapy. And as I said, if it becomes uncomfortable, you have my blessing to just leave. And I'm going to need breathing exercises to get through this. I want you to close your eyes and imagine what the word fearless means to you. Anything that comes to mind. What would you do if you were fearless that you're not doing today? What would it look like to you? Maybe you can even imagine what it would feel like. Maybe you are picturing a dragon soaring through the skies, confident that you can crush any foe in your way. Or maybe a cat, just going about your day, not really caring about what anyone wants from you. Maybe Pippi Longstocking, fiercely doing her thing in spite of any societal norms or expectations. Maybe you're feeling relief. Maybe you feel the absence of worry. My name is Lena Wiberg. I'm a senior manager, author, as of now, keynote speaker. I have been building software for 20-something years, either as a developer, different testing roles, as a manager, enabling people, teams, and organizations. I have a reputation of being a challenging personality, someone who gets shit done, someone who cares fiercely about her work, her people, her organizations. I have been called fearless over and over again over my career, and I'm constantly scared. So let's explore that a bit. We're going to start with the fear part, because sometimes people don't really believe me when I say that I'm scared. So let me walk you through an assortment of fears that I have. I'm terrified of spiders. Maybe that doesn't affect me in my daily life, but it has been a concrete risk to my life, because I'm so scared of spiders, I have thrown myself off the top of a ladder because I suddenly saw a spider in the corner of my eye. I have almost crashed my car into the wall because there was suddenly a spider. I'm afraid of heights. Also something I can avoid in my typical day, but let's just say I won't be the one joining you to the top of the Eiffel Tower. I am scared of needles. That one was actually a problem because I was really sick in asthma when I was a kid, so I've had to do tons of blood work, and being scared of needles and having to do them constantly was not very comfortable. Also, as you can see, I like tattoos. Small problem. Might be getting a bit weird now. I am terrified of phone calls. To the point where my sister has started texting me that she's going to call me in 5 minutes, and if I don't answer, she won't call me. I'm afraid of flying. Also, climate-wise, probably a good thing, but it's a problem when you like to go to conferences like this. I'm terrified of losing my kids. And I don't say like they're going to stop loving me. The actual, they will get lost. I mean, they are 16 and 18 by now, but when they were small, we did not go to amusement park and things like that, because do you know how many exits there are to Astrid Lindgren's Värld in Stockholm? They can get lost anywhere. And when I was doing the research for this talk, I suddenly realized that I know why, because my worst nightmare as a kid was getting lost at a parking spot in the tiny village I grew up in and not finding my mom. So of course I'm scared of that. I'm scared of smelling bad. Going back to the asthma part, my mom was very protective, fiercely protective, so she kept me away from anything, perfumey or makeup or anything. So As a slightly overweight, very active kid who came into puberty early, that was a problem. And to this day, this is something I panic about a lot. And let me tell you, today is not nice because it's been really hot in here. I'm scared of doctor's appointments. But maybe not in the way a lot of people are scared of doctor's appointment, because when I talk about that, people typically say, yeah, I hate going to the gynecologist or something. I'm like, I don't care about those parts. I'm scared of them not listening to me, of not being able to express the height of my problems, Alex. I hate being social in groups. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've been in my room most of today because otherwise I would not survive the day. I'm also terrified of losing my friends. Again, I know why, because I have lost my entire group of friends in the past. And connecting to heights, I'm terrified of bridges. The only way I can cross a bridge is if I'm driving the car, because for some reason that negates the fear. I'm afraid of being late. I'm afraid of disappointing people. I'm afraid of being yelled at. Can we accept that I'm scared now? Thank you. So, just nailing the idea in a bit more, this is how I envision other people's stress and fear curves. Typically very low stress when everything is okay, and then something happens, it spikes, and then you go back to normal. This is how I work. I have a constant low humming of worry in my body constantly. I'm always thinking about what can go wrong. And then when something happens that I can't anticipate, it just pushes me into either fight mode, which is not good, but more typically freeze mode. So if you happen to follow me on Twitter, you might have seen when I was supposed to get my new passport photo. And the ticket machine wouldn't give me a paper ticket, and I hadn't memorized the number. This is not a big deal. There are people there. They are paid to help me. But for me, it was just, I just stood there on the floor in panic, and other people had to gather around me, take me by the hand, move me to someone who could help me, because for me it was just panic. So, fear, anxiety, I'm gonna keep mixing the words during this keynote, and you're just gonna have to accept that I probably don't use the right word. It feels like it's something in our brain, but it has very real physical effects. Adrenaline rush, heart rate going up, we breathe faster. Basically, we take from our brain and add to our body, because fear is a normal biological thing meant to keep us safe. The goosebumps that we get is our very poor try of increasing our fur so we look big and scary. We don't have very impressive fur, unfortunately. The butterflies we can feel in our stomach is actually our stomach and intestines reducing activity. So all of those things that feel strange or it's only in our head, it's connected to keeping us safe. So fear is something good, but if it becomes too much, it will stop us and hinder us and limit us in our daily work, daily lives. There's also, maybe, you'll hear more about it later, not a very healthy connection between being scared and having done something that's scary, because that releases a lot of the good stuff that we like. So fear and pleasure can be a bit intertwined, and I'm going to get back to the effects that it had on me in my life. But in itself, fear is, it could be good, it could be bad, but it has the potential of keeping us from doing or being the best version of ourselves. So the bad effects the stress the fear has had on me are things like weight gain. When I'm stressed, it doesn't matter if I eat more or less, I gain weight. It means that I have a lot of headaches because my neck and my back muscles are constantly tense. It's not migraine because it is connected to my muscles, but it's as horrible. It also means that I forget to breathe, and I'm feeling it very strongly right now. And I mean, this one actually annoyed me a lot when the first chiropractor told me, "You're really bad at breathing." And I'm like, how the hell can I be bad at doing something I do every day, all the time? But remembering those deep breaths that we need is something I'm really bad at. And not only on the physical side, it also has had effects on me mentally. I tend to isolate. If I'm stressed, you will see that or you won't see because I won't be there. I will be locking myself in my room at home, not seeing anyone, not talking to them. That has meant that I've lost a lot of opportunities, work-wise, socially. It also means that I tend to detach from relationships, especially friendships, because I worry so much that they won't be able to take when I just suddenly disappear for an evening, or a week, a year. But unfortunately, it also has had some good effects. As you said today, with the reason I keep eating bread, even though I know it's bad for me, is because sometimes it works. And this constant adrenaline rush is quite addictive, and the more I get of it, the less useful I become when I'm in my calm state. Because when I'm in my comfort zone, I'm pretty useless today. Because I need that kick, I need that extra thing to be the one who gets shit done. So just enough fear to make me act is how I go about my day. But I've had to reflect a lot on myself, why I'm behaving the way I do. So I've learned so much about myself and about other people, because I had to do all the research, like, why am I doing this? Why do I keep putting myself in these situations? And I mean, there's science out there, so that helped me calm down. And all of that reflection also means that I have a tendency to see this in other people, which means I can help them easier, which is good when you're a manager. And in order to not look like a very strange, awkward person, I've had to be very vulnerable to people. I've had to tell them why I'm not picking up their phone when they're calling. So it has made me a lot more open to being vulnerable and talking about myself and my issues. But let's move on to the fun stuff, the fearless part, living my best life, even though I'm scared of all these things all the time. Because I have figured something out. I can control my fear if I can understand it. So if I can explain to myself why I'm scared of something, I can control that fear. So there are two categories of things I'm scared of. There are the things that I understand why. I understand why I am afraid of difficult conversations. I understand why I'm scared of flying, because, I mean, that's a simple one. I'm scared of it actually crashing and me dying. I understand why I'm scared of needles, because one, regardless of what they tell you, it hurts, at least for me. And I tend to get these huge bruises because my blood vessels are not very good. But there are things that I actually logically can't explain to myself why I'm scared of, like spiders. I mean, I know it's some sort of biological thing we're supposed to be, but they can't hurt me. But I'm still scared of them. Dragonflies. I do not understand people who think dragonflies are cute. They are like the most horrible creature. Completely unpredictable, and you just feel like suddenly they're going to fly into your eye. But I have glasses, so that wouldn't hurt me. But I'm still scared of them. Calling people on the phone. It's the most harmless thing in the world, and I still can't do it. So all of the things I talked about in the beginning, like difficult conversations and flying and all those things, I can do them, even though I'm not scared of them. But I would never, ever walk into a room I know there's a spider in. Or there was a spider last week. And the process that works for me is quite simple. One, I need to identify that I'm actually avoiding something because I'm scared. That's the hardest step. Because I tend to say, I don't want to do this, or it's not worth it, but in reality, I'm avoiding it because I'm scared. Once I actually see that, yes, I am limiting myself, I try to understand it. So what is it I'm actually scared of? And then I either acknowledge that, yes, I'm scared of heights. What am I going to do about it? Or I just accept. Yeah, I'm scared of spiders. I have no idea why. I do not have the energy to do anything about this now. But to do that, I need to figure out what it is I'm really scared of. Because it's typically not the thing I think that I'm scared of. I used to believe that I was afraid of speaking in front of an audience. I can prove to you that I am not, because I love doing this. So then I thought, maybe I'm scared of delivering a bad talk. And I am sorry, but my ego is too big. I think even my worst talk would be a mediocre one. But maybe I'm scared of people not liking it or disagreeing with it. But you know what? Lisa Crispin challenged me in my first talk, and I was fine with that. No, I am afraid of failing. Because I was never taught that failure was an option. I had amazing parents in many ways. My dad taught me that I can do anything, I can become anything. I'm smart, I'm capable, I'm worthy of the world, ergo the giant ego. But I don't think it ever crossed his mind that any of his kids could fail. So of course, to me, as a kid, that meant I wasn't allowed to fail. So to me, failure is just unacceptable. And then I also used to think that I was afraid of traveling. But I'm not, I travel all the time. And then I thought, well, I'm still scared of the travel part of conference. Maybe I'm scared of missing my train or my flight. But I've learned that there are other trains and other planes, and I have the financial means of buying a ticket to that. So no, I'm not scared of that. But maybe I'm afraid of not making it on time. But if you've been to conferences, you know that the people working the conferences, they will work their ass off solving that. They will move things around. They will postpone things. They will make sure there is a space for you to do that talk, even if it's doing it online from the airport. I'm not scared of that. I am terrified of disappointing people. I did love my dad. I promise I did, but he had some bad traits, and he had a way of looking at you with those disappointed puppy eyes, leaning his head and say, "You can do better than that." Classic, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. So, on stage, you have a person who is driven by avoiding failure and avoiding disappointing people, which, let me tell you, are horrible motivators. But figuring out that this is what drives me means that I've also figured out that if I can reframe something to no longer be a failure, I stop being scared of it. And failure is subjective. I can decide what failure means to me. If failure to me is not hitting 45 minutes exactly on this talk, I will probably fail. But if failure to me is not remembering a word or making everyone throw tomatoes on me, it's way easier for me to avoid failure, I hope. And then I also realized that once I'd done something enough times, I also stopped being afraid of it. So I can inform you all that I am no longer afraid of needles, which is very good because I love tattoos. I realized, I think it was a year ago, to my big surprise, I like flying. I have no idea when that happened. Just suddenly one day I realized I'm not scared of this anymore. However, this combination of traits, sorry if I make anyone uncomfortable now. A couple of weeks ago, a month ago is probably longer, let's say 2 months, I can't even remember, my husband told me he wanted a divorce. And when we started talking about it, because thank God we finally did, but still getting divorced, I realized that for 12 years, I have not communicated with the person that I was going to spend my life with because I was so afraid of failing and disappointing him. That was not a very nice feeling to suddenly realize that even though I do these things every day at work, even though I had a keynote planned on talking about how awesome I am, I had been avoiding it for 12 years. And I also want to lightly touch upon the difference between brave and without fear, because they are totally different things. There are things that I do that I'm not scared of that could possibly be scary to you. Like I'm not afraid at all of being on this stage. I am not afraid of dating or flirting. I am not even afraid of being the first person to say I love you. I love that shit. I'm not afraid of hiring or firing people. I'm not afraid of doing important presentations at work. All of those things are just things that I do that I'm actually not scared of. What is scary is sending in an abstract, because then I can fail. What's scary is forcing myself to walk across a bridge, even though I know there's a very real risk I will just fall into a pile in the middle of the bridge and not be able to move. Going to a party, like the one tonight. Please give me a hug if I look scared. Or forcing myself to make that phone call or answer. Those are things that I do that means that I'm brave. But in order to do all this, you need some way of handling the anxiety in the moment, because otherwise I'm just going to stand there at the police station, panicked, not knowing what to do. So let's explore that for a bit to reduce the tense situation in the room. The thing that's helped me the most is realizing how stress actually works. Because stress affects our ability to think, our ability to act. And just understanding that this is a physical phenomenon helps me calm down. So when we are in a calm, nice place, we have access to our entire brain, our entire capacity. We are inspiring and innovative and creative, and we do all of the great things. But if you've ever been under pressure or observed someone who has been under pressure for a long time, you notice that they become less capable. They start acting out of character. And suddenly things they did very easily before, you know they can do it, become just impossible. And it's really scary when you're in that place, because it literally feels like you are losing your intelligence, you are losing your ability to perform. And it's not imagination, because it is what our body is intended to do, because stress did not used to be about doing an important presentation. It used to be about survival. And when you're down here, you're supposed to just get yourself out of the situation you're in. You're not supposed to think. You're supposed to run. But the good thing is, it's temporary. So if you manage to grasp the control back, you can move back up into the good place, and you will have access to your brain again. And just knowing that this is actually how our bodies work helps me calm down when I'm feeling stressed. And one thing, when you're in stress, you feel like everything is going wrong. Nothing can be done to fix this. And what helps is to put things into perspective when you're feeling like that. Because this is just our worries. And they come from a skewed perspective that's just increased by strong emotions. So try looking for clues to tell you that the fear you have is not proportional to the actual situation. So start being concrete, like what is not going well? Usually you come up with one, maybe two things, not everything. And doing this can ground us, makes us reconnect with our brain, and it makes us realize that the scope of the problem is usually a lot smaller than what we feel that it is. Okay, I'm gonna do one up on Bruce and do a different breathing technique from last year. If you would all just find a comfortable position, sit up, and when we exhale, we do it through our mouth. When we inhale, we do it through our nose. So I want you to slowly exhale, and then we're gonna inhale through the nose to the count of 4. 1, hold 4. PowerPoint is slower than Google Slides. Sorry about that. Exhale. And hold. Good job. This is an exercise I use a lot. Yes, you can read. You go back. Please don't faint. But if you are very stressed and you feel like you've stopped doing those wonderful deep breaths, you can do this exercise and repeat it a number of times. I like 4. 4 is my lucky number, so 4 times I typically do it. Please make sure you are somewhere where you can't faint, because if you're not used to doing this and you do too many repetitions, you might start getting dizzy. But this is fantastic exercise for calming yourself down. There are also a lot of other ways of calming yourself. There are different breathing techniques. Breathing is fantastic. There are the simple act of counting. Counting things, counting breaths, just counting is very grounding. You can visualize your happy place. You can do progressive muscle relaxation, which is fancy words for relaxing your muscles in a progressive way. Mindfulness, there are many, many things, and I'm going to share this. When I share this slide deck, there's a bunch of resources in it. So, I think I still have time. I have a confession to make. Remember I told you about that divorce? 2 weeks ago, I was about to cancel this. I felt like I was a complete liar. How could I do a talk about facing your fears when I have been avoiding them for a decade? Took a lot of discussions with friends. And a sudden black slide. But I decided that it's okay. I forgive myself. And I accept that even though I didn't do that in my relationship, I do it in all of the other aspects of my life. And even I am not perfect, and that's okay. Sometimes things don't work out, but if you put in the work, they will get better. And hopefully in the next relationship, I won't avoid communicating about even the smallest of problems. But maybe I can be a true partner to whoever I end up with. So I have a promise to myself. I promise to start therapy, but that's cheating because I already did. It's the first thing I did after, I think the Monday after we decided on the divorce, I called the psychologist, and I've been avoiding that for 20 years. I said, I'm too messed up, we need to fix this now. So maybe my promise is rather to stay in therapy. I promise to keep reflecting on if I'm really facing my fears or if I'm just avoiding them. I promise to keep challenging those fears, but I also promise to accept when I'm not able to, and just say, I can do that in the future sometime. I don't have to love pickles just because I like gherkin. I promise to forgive myself for the mistakes I made in the past. No. And I promise to live the fullest of life.
More questions?
Would it help for members of the Fear Squad to share their reasoning behind the irrational fears? Like, not now, right now, but just in general, like if somebody's gone some way to figure out the real reasons why they fear something like phone conversations, does that help?
I would suspect yes, but I don't know. I mean, it helps me to talk about it. It helps me to usually trying to explain something to someone else is just like I can hear how I can hear that this is wrong. So I would assume, but I also don't think that my fear of spiders is the same as your fear of spiders. But just working through the steps to figuring it out could probably help.
Last question. Do we have questions? Sorry.
Can you hear me?
No. The mic, have you switched off? No, it's on. My dear? Hey, hi.
Hello.
It's not working. So,
Hello.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
hello.
Now
again.
it works. So I just wanted to ask, like, I think it's pretty common for people in long-term relationships to eventually stop communicating. Do you have any thoughts on why that is? Because you also said that that worked in the other aspects of the life, but except for in the relationship, although you are technically the most closest to the person you're in a relationship with. And just to add, I'm just asking for a friend.
We never started communicating, which I think is the problem, because we never even talked about the small things. We never said, you made me uncomfortable when you said that, when you did that, or that you hurt me, or I felt rejected yesterday. We never talked about it. And I think the only way of fixing that is to just push through and start. And it's incredibly scary, but it's the only way to get started. I mean, we talked more during 2 days than we had in 12 years, and we understand each other very, very well now. And it's like, yeah, it sucks we didn't do this 12 years ago, but here we are. So I just tell your friend to just be brave and do it anyway.
Thanks so much. Only one thing about the 8 legs of a spider. I can tell you something. Octopus has also 8 legs, and they taste really very nicely. Okay. Thanks so much. So you're getting something from my side. A hug. May I? Thanks so much. Very good. Thanks so much.